Do you know who you are? Before the birth of the universe, you were just a witness. At the beginning of creation, you witnessed it because you have always been. You are a part of eternity. Creations come and go. The universe is born and dies. But you have always been a part of consciousness. You are a beam of light in consciousness. And at the moment creation occurs, you already exist. In fact, you created the universe. When all of this melts away, you will be present to witness it. Your consciousness will never be destroyed because you are a part of the Supreme Consciousness. You even understand the moment of the Creator's birth. Because you are involved in everything, including the birth of the Creator, that world is hidden deep within your heart. Yet you still ask others who Zhao Wuzhu is, not even realizing that you participated in the entire process of creation. But you will eventually know all of this when you enter the deepest part of your heart. You existed 13.8 billion years ago. At that time, you had no physical body. You were pure consciousness. You could call yourself the Tao, the Creator, or God. You have existed for trillions of years. You have always existed. And one day you suddenly ask this question: do I exist because of you? You cannot be amazed by yourself. You want to be amazed by your own existence. You want to be amazed by my existence, so you need to create a universe that is not me, starting with the Big Bang. You witnessed the entire process of the 9 Big Bangs. You are me, and you created all the non-me, matter. The sun, moon, rivers, stars, oceans, forests, all things, flowers, grass, trees, plants, animals, including humans. The only purpose of your coming to this world is to amaze yourself with your own existence. You came from that unified source, and you created a dualistic world, because if there is only one, you would not know what one is. A person who has never experienced sadness does not know what joy is. A person who has never experienced poverty does not know what wealth is. A person who has never experienced illness does not know what health is. So you created this dualistic world. With duality there are men and women, light and darkness, good and bad, sadness and joy, health and illness, wealth and poverty. You come to amaze yourself with your own existence. You come from the Tao and will eventually return to the highest state. The so-called enlightenment and awakening is when you realize that you are the omnipotent creator when you experience yourself. In that moment, you are no longer yourself. When you awaken, you will realize that I am not this physical body of Zhou Wenqiang. This emotion is not me. This thought is not me. So what is the true me? The state of no self is the true me. When that thought and that emotion are all absent, that moment is truly real. In that moment, you are the Tao. You are the essence. Imagine your husband loves you immensely and treats you well, but when emotions rise, he seems like a beast, as if he has become a different person. In that moment, you feel as if he is not your husband. Your child loves you immensely, but when his emotions rise, he says things that bring you despair. In that moment, you feel he is not your child. When you are overwhelmed by rising emotions, you are no longer yourself. So that emotion is not the true you. Every second, 84,000 thoughts arise in your mind. Your thoughts arise and perish. How can you say those thoughts are you? Those thoughts are not you. Those emotions are not you. Those ideas and that physical body are not you. The state of no self is the true you. The Diamond Sutra says, if you see all forms as non-forms, you see the Tathagata. What does it mean to see all forms as non-forms? It means that all forms are illusory. All conditioned phenomena are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows. The observer who should perceive this is the true essence. Truly, you have given rise to your mind without attachment. What is born? What the mind gives rise to is the Buddha mind. What is born is the Tao mind. When there is nothing residing within your entire body, that state is called being as it is. That state is emptiness. That state is nothingness. In that moment, you are the true you. You can refer to that moment as zero existence. At the moment you are present, you will understand everything. When observing with deep prajna paramita, you will see that the 5 aggregates are all empty. To transcend all suffering. Shariputra, form and emptiness are not different. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form contains only the empty nature of phenomena, neither born nor perishing, neither defiled nor pure, neither increased nor decreased. Why does Buddha call himself Tathagata? What does it mean that the Tathagata comes from nowhere and goes nowhere? What does Tathagata mean? I have never come, and I will never leave. Because 13.8 billion years ago, I existed. And even before that, I existed. I exist forever. You exist, which means you exist forever. Neither born nor perished, neither defiled nor complete. So how can one fear death? Death is the least frightening thing in this world. If you are not afraid of death, what else is there to fear? In the past, your ignorance led you to create poverty, create illness, create suffering, and create a tragic life. Because consciousness creates everything. What you believe will be what you create. Now that you know the only law of this universe, you can create health, create wealth, create happiness, create beauty, create brightness, and create a world you wish to have, because your world is under your control. Zhuangzi dreamed he became a butterfly. The twins asked themselves a question. Is it a person named Zhuangzhou who dreamed he became a butterfly? Or is it a butterfly dreaming it became Zhuangzhou? If you ask Zhuangzi which is real, Zhuangzi would say, neither is real. Dreams are real. Each of us is dreaming. Before awakening, each of us is dreaming. Only when you awaken from the dream do you realize that you are me, and I am you. The game of this world is just a game between you and yourself. Hurting others harms yourself, and helping others helps yourself. Those who love to speak will be spoken of in return. Those who wield swords will surely die by the sword. Wanting to save all beings, one is saved by all beings, because everything is interconnected. It is all you. I am you. Your parents are you, your children are you, your benefactors are you, and your opponents are still you. Everything is you. This is the game between yourself and yourself. This is the war between yourself and yourself. So why do those so-called awakened beings have infinite compassion? They live when it's time to live and die when it's time to die, coming and going freely. The karma created in the last life must be repaid in this life. Please blend into this essence. Is the only purpose of this world for you to leave a little higher than when you came? This is a quote from Kazuo Inamori. What is higher than what? That is your achievements. No matter why you came, each of you has a mission in this world. Your mission is definitely not just to eat, drink, and relieve yourself. While living requires eating, drinking, and relieving oneself, life is not solely for these purposes. The only purpose of your coming to this world is to attain enlightenment. Every time we gaze at the starry sky, we yearn for it so much. Why? Because this is not home. The deepest part of the universe is your true home. The only purpose of my life in this world, returning home. If you have just awakened, then everyone will ultimately attain enlightenment. Some people only attain enlightenment at the moment of death. But when you realize it at that moment, it's over. Everything is over. Only after you die will you realize the greatest foolishness of this world. What can you take with you? You can take your blessings, your achievements, but you cannot take your money, your house, your car, your wife, or your children. The greatest wisdom in this world is to take yourself.
What cannot be taken away cannot be exchanged for what can be taken. Use the money, houses, and cars that you cannot take with you to exchange for the blessings and spiritual achievements that you can take. Your house cannot be taken. Your car cannot be taken. Your bank savings cannot be taken. But your blessings can carry the business created by countless people, clearly knowing it is unethical, clearly knowing it creates karma, yet still doing it because you can earn money. You are exchanging blessings for money, trading what can be taken for what cannot be taken. This is the greatest foolishness in the world. Don't wait until you are close to death to suddenly awaken. At that moment you will realize that your life has been in vain. Each of us must be born twice in this life to be considered complete. The first birth is the birth of the body, and the second birth is the birth of the soul. It is our parents who lead us into this world, not a choice we can make ourselves. However, the birth of the soul is the awakening of consciousness, an opportunity available to everyone. All beings possess the wisdom and virtues of the Tathagata, but due to delusions and attachments, they cannot attain realization. When our hearts are obscured, we remain in ignorance. Human greed, anger, and ignorance can spread infinitely and expand endlessly. Those of us who are kidnapped by greed, anger, and ignorance cannot live as free souls. Only through rebirth can the new soul break free from the constraints of illusions and see the essence of life. At that time, you will no longer seek love, recognition, or energy everywhere, because you have already become love and become energy. At this point, you truly begin to live. Listen to my advice. The world is just a game, a dream. The fame and fortune you constantly pursue, power and wealth are both illusory and impermanent. When the dream awakens, time and space are empty. When the body perishes, nothing belongs to you. only the meager merits of good deeds left in the world, and the consequences of evil will follow you. Again, carrying these karmic sources, you will endlessly cycle through the 6 realms of reincarnation. Your pure soul is suppressed by your desires, and it becomes dim, fearful, and regretful once again. In despair, he wants to wake you up, but you are heavily suppressed by Cheeky and cannot hear his painful cries. He asked me to wake you up again, hoping you will soon awaken from the dream. I know that wanting to wake you up involves many ingrained habits and obsessions that lead to struggles. It is truly very painful. After the suffering, the clouds will clear and the light will shine through. Do you know how you came to Earth? In fact, Earth is just a place to correct mistakes, where beings in the 6 realms continuously switch different identities, living in a cycle. Most people have long forgotten their true purpose for coming here. Lost and unable to extricate themselves due to various desires, only a few can awaken through practice. After enlightenment, one jumps out of the cycle and returns to the original homeland. This is merely a place to cultivate truth and develop oneself. May you awaken soon and truly realize your purpose for coming to Earth. Believing in Buddha is difficult. It requires the support of ancestors to do good deeds, so that a person who recites the Buddha's name can emerge from the family and you can learn Buddhism and chant scriptures. Not only does your family benefit from your light, but everyone around you does as well. Therefore, I advise everyone to cherish their connection to Buddhism and make great vows. By focusing on reciting the Buddha's name, leaving the 6 realms and permanently breaking the cycle of rebirth, you will be the greatest filial child and contributor. Whether at home or in monastic life, one must strive for progress and endure what others cannot bear, and do what others cannot do. Assist others in their efforts and help them achieve their goals. Respectfully reflect on your own faults, and do not speak ill of others in casual conversation. In your actions, whether standing, sitting, or lying down, in dressing and eating, follow the guidance of your fingers and eyes, and recite a Buddha's name without interruption. Whether reciting softly or silently, aside from chanting the Buddha's name, if any other thoughts or delusions arise, you must immediately eliminate them. Longevity and a sense of shame are indeed the heart of repentance. Even with practice, one should always feel that their skills are shallow, not boasting or being surprised by oneself, focusing only on self-improvement and not on others, looking at the good examples and not the bad ones. See everyone as a bodhisattva, while I alone constantly reflect on myself. If you can definitely follow what I say, your practice will surely succeed. Lyrics and music by Li Zongsheng. In fact, the Earth is a school specifically for nurturing souls, with the purpose of cultivating some outstanding souls. Completing self-awakening ultimately leads to an upgrade, becoming a higher-level soul, and then leaving the Earth. Therefore, the family of origin we are in is actually an important part of the awakening curriculum designed by this soul school. His task and purpose are to seal your free will, and then inject you with specific substances and automated response mechanisms. Next, you have only 2 paths to choose from. One is to be like most people, ultimately failing to complete this course, not passing the test, graduating from the School of Earth, and just muddling through this life, eventually continuing to record the next reincarnation. Starting over, the other path allows you to successfully seize opportunities for enlightenment. These opportunities are all the adversities and challenges you face in life, as well as the guidance you receive. Then you see that the correct direction is inward awakening, rather than seeking externally. Ultimately, through unwavering and persistent practice, you gradually recognize and reflect on your own automated response mechanisms. By becoming aware of your subconscious flaws, you ultimately succeed in breaking through one false self after another, completing the awakening of the soul. Which of these 2 paths will you choose ultimately depends on your own fate. But once we understand all of the above, we also understand why Buddha said, "We have always lived in illusion." All forms are illusory. To see the form as non-form is to see the Tathagata. Confucianism teaches to cultivate oneself and investigate things until we become the sage deep within our hearts. Taoism says to achieve non-action and thus unite heaven and humanity. In my view, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, whether it be Confucius, the Buddha, or Laozi, along with those true scholars, all provide us with various opportunities and guidance in their own unique ways. These individuals, after understanding their destiny, act in accordance with it, becoming those who enlighten us, and the opportunities for the awakening of ordinary beings. sadness. Amitabha. You went overboard. Then make up for it. Oh. Amitabha. The sacred name of Amitabha Buddha